Start from the start. How far did you get, Crescent? Because you said the ship controls were fucked, which means I'm assuming you made it to the observatory to get the launch codes. Everyone here is going to try and help you out as best they can with working out how to do this. Because there's lots of little puzzles hidden throughout that help guide you to solving the mysteries of all the planets and then eventually the solar system. This is what makes it so fun. So you got the observatory, and they actually give you a lot of really important hints that you won't know are hints till later. This big boy is an anglerfish. This is a tiny replica of the actual one. They're genuinely terrifying as fuck. They're attracted to movement, and this is one of the probes. And then alien skeleton, or the, I don't know, what do you call them? Nomai, that's the one. So the Nomai were previously here. Alright, and then this is their language. So we're nearly ready. Felix and I have finished construction, and she says collaborating the device won't take long. Fortunately, the Adelrock's lack of atmosphere will make calibration simple. After all this time, I'm thrilled to finally resume our search. And then we got the strange symbol here. You need to memorize that symbol and like imprint it into your brain. There are a bunch of different astronauts that were here before us. I go after this legend over here called Feldspar. I believe it's that motherfucker in the back right there. Here's my bait. Feldspar's motto is Descendant. This is a very important lesson. So the strange rock moving around in this grotto appears to react to conscious observation. The level-headed among us realize there must be some sort of optical illusion at play. But Gabbro claims the rock exists in all possible states until it is observed, whatever that means. Whatever is actually happening, both sides of this debate agree the effect is extremely creepy. So, if you're not understanding, we saw it to our left, but I guarantee you it is no longer there. It is gone. And it's not in front of us at all, which means some strange reason it's going to be behind us. And if you learn where it can be, you learn that you can manipulate where it's going to go. So if I want it to be behind me, I pay attention to there, because it's not going to be where I looked. It's going to be where I haven't looked. And so if I want it to go to the left again, I keep the left out of sight, and I look away, and it can't be there anymore. So it ends up there. So now we want to go back to the ship, and we want to go take a look at a few places on Wild Hearth. That's the one. Also, you have to think of a way to keep an eye on it even when out of sight. Exactly. But don't spoil that one just yet, because that's the real penny dropper. Because once you work that one out, that's the one that makes you feel like you've done good. All right, so we want to go on the ship. Rule number one, whenever you hop on the ship, regardless of how many times I don't do it, always remember to suit up. Suit up, then fly. Before we fly, this little computer is going to be our best friend. It has a log of every single object in the sky. And then on top of that, it also keeps notes. So we visited the village, and the more we explore places, the more information it will have, but it will also give us hints. So we've been to the village, and there are lunar ruins. Talks about calibrating some sort of device on the Adel Rock. So we need to figure out what the Adel Rock is. The Adel Rock is right there. The Nomai text in the observatory talks about calibrating some sort of device. So we can go to the Adel Rock to find out more. But a few other places that we should check out first. One being this weird crater here. So it looks like something like a asteroid hit here, and this weird thing is growing out of it and into the Wild Hearth. This thing is absolutely terrifying once you start learning later on what exactly it is. I'll have to get a look at what's inside the seed first though. Don't want to set anybody to hacking up a potentially dangerous plant without a better idea of what's lurking inside there. Tuff can help me hold the old scout launcher over here. Obviously the opening is too small for someone to fit inside. Our character had a conversation state that it was part of the Dark Bramble. And so the seed looks very similar to that, but have a look at the planet as a whole. You can see what happens to the seed as it grows uncontrolled. It tears the planet apart. We have one of those seeds here. We have our own little scanner, so we can actually shoot it in. But it's gone. If you shoot the scout in there, it pops up 16 kilometers away. So you have a look at the map. That's where we are. And we've actually got our scanner popping up inside the Dark Bramble. And you can actually take repetitive photos so you can see the path. Isn't able to comfortably operate the controls of the ship and the jetpack, but really wants to experience the game, so I'm doing a little bit of a playthrough to let them see it. So now we know, if we have a look here, it updates. See from the Dark Bramble has crashed and it's already taken root, and it even gives us a little hint. Tektite wants to use a scout launcher to get a look at what's inside. There was one cool little tidbit that you may not have picked up, or you may have. There was the remains of one of those fish that's in the observatory and what looked like a campfire. So that'll be something you want to try and remember later. Yeah, the tiny fish. The tiny fish has a campfire in its mouth. So the next place we want to check out, I believe it was here. I'm gonna like remember where everything is, which for me is impressive. So we didn't make these. This was here before us. So it leads through here to a broken bridge, and the bridge leads to a waterfall. I reckon we just have a shower. Behind the waterfall, crescents on it. Look at that. There's actually a cheeky little hole here. So sadly, doors don't automatically open for us here. Mining site 2B. All right, so we've got this door crescent and we need to be able to open it. We've got the sign here that says mining site 2B, but we don't have a door handle. If you have a look at the door, what stands out? Shiny thing moves to the other side. Ooh. You mean that shiny thing? Ah, look at that. It reacts when I look at it. So don't forget that one, Crescent. When you see those weird balls, it reacts. And then we have some more notes. Alright, I'm still amazed by how much ore the Ash Twin project requires. Isn't this the ore for the remaining towers being built on Ash Twin? The completed towers I've seen are quite large. No, the material for these towers is all being taken from Ash Twin. The ore we're mining here will be used to craft an immensely thick protective shell that will physically seal off the chamber inside Ash Twin's core. If they're sealing off all entrances, I hope they've planned accordingly. I thought you had forbidden your apprentices from making puns, Coleus. How else would he improve? I'm relieved by our clan's decision to use Timber Hearth's ore only for the constructing the shell. If eventually life on this planet were to evolve to the point of advanced metallurgy, I'm confident we won't have destroyed their ability to create. They're building something in a place called the Ash Twin. So we've got some strange, I guess you can call them podiums? Some slots. And it's got a weird symbol here. It's like a planet with some trees on it. Look at that. Planet with trees. Oh, pick up Ash Twin Projection Stone. We've got two podiums that have some cutouts similar to it. One over there and one over here. Whenever we've had walls like this, we end up having writing on it. So like that wall over there with the weird writing on this stone. Place it on the pillar in front of the wall. Alright, we'll give that a go. Insert Ash Twin Projection Stone. Look at that. My gratitude for the latest shipment. Oh no. What a name. Oh no. This ore should be the last we'll need for the Ash Twin project. This is exciting news. Can I offer an extra set of eyes for this final check, specifically mine? If my work here is complete, I'd be delighted to help. We'd be grateful if you would. The more eyes, the better, as the smallest flaw or opening in the shell that protects the Ash Twin project could lead to disaster. They're building something that is incredibly delicate, and if anything goes wrong, once we finish the shell that seals off the central chamber, we'll check to ensure there are no longer any physical entrances. Remy and I will be checking the interior and then the exterior for cracks, our final safety check. If we got that from there, let's try over here. Strange. Nothing happened. But for now, let's keep looking. How long have we been in here, actually? That's a fair point. We might want to go up. Oops. Oh, no. It's strange. Why do we have some music here? What is going on? The sun has gone like a weird pink. I'm trying. We're close. So we have a look. The sun's changed color. And all the light is gone. You're right. What was that? What do you think that was? Redacted indeed. So the sun changed color, and wait, hold up. You're gonna want to launch codes from the observatory first. That's weird. Didn't we just get the launch codes earlier? I already got them from the observatory, remember? Sun. Go boom. It's a second person playthrough, yeah. So the sun goes boom. We get some fancy music out of it too. And then when it goes boom, we wake up. And I guarantee you, nobody else here knows about it. So what you may have thought was a checkpoint isn't necessarily a checkpoint in the way normal games perceive it, where they save the game in a specific spot and you respawn and it's like, ha ha ha, it's like nothing ever happened. To give you a better understanding, you're waking up at the start of the day again. That's about the nicest way I can explain it right now. Alright, so we got the Ash Twin project that we don't know much about. They were just spending a lot of time and resources trying to build a chamber. And we've got something at the lunar ruins. So if we hunt down the moon, it's going to be something else that's worth looking at. Where is my moon? It's right behind me, isn't it? We needed to look for the lunar ruins, didn't we? Nothing almost hits me. I was just exactly where I needed to be when I needed to be there. We have a look at this. We got some nice ruins here. Look at that. We got some fucking Tetris planet. I don't know, a hairy planet. Something. Something that looks familiar. But not much more. Oh, look at that. You can move that around as well. What happens when you go there? Weird, it just keeps spinning. So we move the ball over here. Does anything happen this time? Ah, look at that. We can hear what's going on over there. Like spins around again. Oh, now it's pointing at another planet. You go to this one. I was upstairs testing the eye signal locator. However, something strange is happening when I ask the eye signal locator to follow the eye's signal. The device indicator rotates wildly and never points to just one direction. So would that mean that this is technically an eye then? Because we had this same signal up the top, and when we tried to locate it like it locates the other planets, it just spins around in circles. This is a curious result. It's possible the eye has stopped calling out its signal. I see, I most likely calibrated the locator incorrectly. Privet, my apprentice, and I will make adjustments and try again. So, they're trying to locate this eye. Where should this new, more sophisticated locator be built? It may need to be larger than this eye signal locator is. The southern glacier on Brittle Hollow has ample available space. I could construct a new building to house this proposed locator. Yes, let's build there. I imagine our young friend Kanoi would enjoy that immensely. He's always held a great interest in the eye, especially for a child born so long after the crash. At some point in the Nomai's history, there was a crash. I'll begin construction on Brittle Hollow's south pole immediately. So they built something at the Brittle Hollow. Anona and those of us originally stranded on Ember Twin built a quantum moon locator there. The heat of the sun made its construction challenging. I wouldn't recommend building on that planet. Again, we've got the Ember Twin being referenced to something being built there as well. An update, disappointingly, everything is correctly calibrated after all. It saddens me to posit this, my friends, but I believe this locator cannot detect the eye's signal. We would need to build a more sensitive device if we want to locate the eye of the universe. Then we will build it. Don't lose hope. Our search for the eye is what brought our clan to this place. We won't give up, so we now have a few choices. If we head back to the ship, we've got the eye signal locator, and it's shown us a few places we can go. So we've got the Southern Observatory, and that's on Brittle Hollow's southern pole. And then we've also got Rybeck. He headed to Brittle Hollow to investigate something the Nomai were doing at the South Pole. Because at the moment we don't know anything about the Ash Twin project or where that is. And that is this bad boy here. Ah, it's on the other side of the sun. Now I've got to fly near it. Here we got the Brittle Hollow. Now have a look at this planet. It's literally brittle with something inside. But yeah, as you see, oh, what was that? So we have meteors flying down from that moon. Here's the stairs. I'm here, I did it. I put the ship down safely. In that, the ship went down and I didn't sustain bodily harm. A few minor repairs. It's like the ship never even hit those rocks. One of my better attempts. Feldspar would barely have laughed at me, I bet. It's the good news. The bad news, I haven't found a way inside this structure yet. The door is broken, and I know I'm not great at exploring, but I think I would have found a different entrance by now if there were one. Probably. Can't get inside from here, but I know there are paths below the surface. I'm going to head north to the ruins on the equator to find a way down. So, if we head north, the ruins that we saw as we were coming in, we got some smoke. Looks like a little camp. Journey here from the South Pole has been, I'm going to go with harrowing because of the all of the meteors, but hey, at least I made it here unconcussed and not on fire. Now let's see, I poked around a little and there's some sort of old Nemaya path that starts across from my campsite. Inside the ruined building with trees growing out of it. Doesn't look like anything horrible, just stairs leading down. I can handle stairs. After I get my supplies together, I'll follow the path and see where it leads. If we go opposite, there you go. There's some good crystals here. Down a little bit. Oh, look at that. So, these crystals are gravity crystals and let you walk around wherever they're connected to. Got gravity crystal workshop. But we have a frequency detector here too. Got another astronaut. So the reason he's down here is because he tripped down a gravity crystal and he's gauging the stability of the ground around me using the little scout, and this seems to be the place with the best surface integrity. So brittle hollow is brittle and falling apart. The Tower of Quantum Knowledge. So if we bring it down, it looks like it's drawing to us, and then if you bring it back up, it's drawing away from us. Look how much of the planet is gone already. It's gonna make exploring a little bit more difficult if so much of the planet is gone. Look at that, you got a massive structure there, but we're gonna have to traverse the planet to try and get there. Be welcomed in this place. Above you stands the Tower of Quantum Knowledge. If you are making your first pilgrimage to the Quantum Moon, ascend these stairs and obtain the last of the knowledge you need for your journey. So we have to traverse our way up there, and so as you walk over it, it magnetizes. We can walk up this, but then we get to the top, we fall off. And I flew to where I wanted to go. So we just fell through that, and look at that. We have a white hole. As you're seeing, Crescent, brittle hollow is, and over time, the planet falls apart, literally falls apart, and it gets drawn into a black hole that is inside of it. And everything that goes into the black hole comes out of this, as you're seeing parts of brittle hollow, and it just floats here. We need to figure out a way that we can go to the top of that library of knowledge by using the gravity stairs, or is there another way we can do it? Because it quite possibly might be a little bit easier now that gravity isn't an issue. Oh, look at that. And suddenly, all of our past choices show up. And then we wake up in the campfire. But have a look at what happens. Something explodes in the sky and it shoots off. Wonder what that is. We've got a few places, but I think we should start off with the Brittle Hollow. Just so that that's fresh where Crescent was up to with last stream. Alright, so we also have this big giant ship that we need to explore. Go back over everything. So we end up with a weird... What would you even call this? A weird object? Playing a weird sound. And then we have this weird noise here. That's also coming from... I can't remember the name of it right now. God damn, the Dark Bramble, that's the one. Now we have a look over here. Is everyone unharmed? No one was badly injured from the escape pod's impact. We're incredibly fortunate. This is good news, at least. Have we heard from Escape Pod 2 or Escape Pod 3? No, I'm unable to make contact. My equipment can hear the other two escape pods' distress signals. However, if it's any comfort, both pods must be structurally intact. I'll continue calling for them. So, obviously, this device is calling to the other escape pods. My gratitude, if we can. Thatch, the moon is approaching again. Everyone brace yourselves. Swiftly, the volcanic moon has returned. Be cautious of falling ash and debris. I believe the moon has passed. This planet doesn't appear eager to have guests. We are certainly unwelcome on its surface. Need to find shelter and quickly. The volcanic moon won't be gone for long. I observed several promising sites below the surface, but we'll need to construct a way for everyone to climb safely down this cliff. Perhaps we could build platforms. Alright, so escape pod 1, vessel has been mortally injured. Emergency sequence activated, waiting departure from the vessel. Launching escape pod 3, launching escape pod 2, now launching escape pod 1. Alert, collision imminent, preparing for impact. Scanning external environment, scan complete. Minor structural instabilities detected. Pockets of breathable air detected. Adequate solar energy detected. So apparently this place is habitable. Emergency escape hatch. And it just yeets it down there. And here are all the paths. Use caution, a black hole sleeps below. You must not slip. Alright, so as we go through, there are a few things we wanted to investigate. Of note, be sure not to wander far from here. Though this area is somewhat unstable, it's safer than any we've found so far. The temporary settlement is finished, but remember to be cautious of falling rocks and dust created by meteor impacts. And so they crash landed and were stuck here, and tried to make the most of what they had. Given concerns about our settlement stability, where should we construct a new, less temporary shelter? We need to stay close to the escape pod so Felix can monitor incoming messages. We can't be rescued if we aren't present to respond. I don't believe anyone is coming to save us, Thatch. Now we must save ourselves. I agree. We're here because the eye signal called to us and we followed. If we're to find it, we need to not merely survive, but thrive. This is a wise point, Plume, and eloquently made. If moving to the northern glacier will help keep us safer, then that is what we should do. I believe we should migrate to the northern glacier. What if we use gravity crystals to craft a stable path? Building beneath the crust again would help shelter us from the volcanic moon's eruption. And so they make their way all the way around. And this is where you start making your way across with these. And you also have to be careful, because if you're too far away from them, you lose the gravity and you fall into the black hole. So do we try and make the jump? Hey, Titterella! Uh-oh. 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 So now we have a strange satellite orbiting the white hole. Welcome to the White Hole Station. If you fell through the black hole by accident, don't worry, you aren't the first. This warp tower can return you to the Brittle Hollow. So, this is our first interaction with a warp tower. Every warp tower is tuned to a specific astral body. A tower's warp can only be used during the brief window when the tower is aligned with its corresponding astral body, in this case, Brittle Hollow. If you look up while the station is rotating, you can see the alignment happens when the astral body is directly overhead. You must be standing on the warp platform on the floor during this alignment to be warped. When you see these are the warp pads. And then if you look up, the planet it is aligned to will fly directly above. And then when it is perfectly aligned, we get teleported over. We're about to go in alignment. And just like that, we're back. As it lines up, charges up like this. And so if you step on it, you'll get teleported back. I check with my little scout. I do too use it, Hornfells, you burnt marshmallow, and the scout's integrity reading said this piece of Brittle Hollow is as stable as any, but who knows. If the fuel's still around, feel free to use it. If not, well, wherever you're reading this note, I'm sure you've got bigger problems. Surface integrity, 100%. But then we'll check over here. 100% as well. Cool. The Hanging City. So we've got some more stuff here. Rami and I reviewed the records you sent, Poke, and they appear to show Namai are arriving at the warp receiver on Brittle Hollow slightly before departing from the White Hole Station. I understand it's exceedingly odd, but Clary and I have tested and retested the equipment, and the result is the same every time someone warps. The interval is incredibly minuscule, roughly 100,000th of a second. Do you suppose our instruments can't accurately measure time to such a small degree? As I've already told Rami, these measurements can't be accurate. How can Nomai arrive on Brittle Hollow before he or she ever stepped into the teleporter? The implications are absurd. Poke, as Pi is confident the reading is inaccurate, she's kindly helping me attempt to recreate this phenomenon at the High Energy Lab. We're designing an experiment to take more data. An update, Poke, the High Energy Lab is in the canyon on Ember Twins Equator. Come here at once, you need to see this. don't disagree. It would mean I've inadvertently broken several fundamental theories regarding this universe. We would have to reconsider all of our beliefs about the nature of time. So, now we know that at the Ember Twin, there is a high energy lab that has special experiments happening. Has anyone observed the phantom moon that sometimes greets us in the night sky? Your thoughts interest me. I compliment your eyes. How do you imagine it disappears? Hypothesis. Could it be a shift in the light spectrum? Suppose this moon is too shy to show us its face. I'm interested in your playful moon. Is it much like its violent friend, Hollow's lantern? This moon isn't volcanic to my unaided eyes. Sometimes it leaves its friend Hollow Lantern for nights at a time. The nights the moon circles this planet appear random. It seems to travel as it likes. Imagine if there were 2 volcanic moons. Then I imagine there'd be none of us left. There can exist too much lava. I'd strongly prefer we test the null hypothesis. I need to try and find the library, I think it was called, which is hard when I can't see anything. Oh, is that the library? It is. So we fly up here. And so now we have access to all of this. Question is, what is this? Welcome, Solanum. Your arrival here means you've completed your preparations on Giant's Deep and are ready to depart for the Quantum Moon. On your pilgrimage, the Quantum Moon will carry you, just as it carried me and many in our clan before me to the moon's 6th and most secret location. You'll be aided in your pilgrimage by the shrine our clan built on the Quantum Moon. But remember this final rule: to explore the 6th location, the shrine must be on the moon's north pole. Be curious on your journey. If you're here to make your first pilgrimage to the Quantum Moon, you're almost prepared to set out on this deeply significant journey. Before you do, pause and remember your history. We make this journey not only for ourselves, but also to honor the members of our clan who came before us, those who, after the crash that brought them to this star system, became stranded on Brittle Hollow and on Ember Twin, with no communication between these 2 groups of survivors. These Nomai looked upward from 2 different planets and saw the same wandering moon visiting their skies. It was this moon, the Quantum Moon, that kept their curiosity alive during this long period of hardship. After the 2 divided groups were able to reunite, it became our clan's united goal to find and visit the Quantum Moon. This took time, and many Nomai who dreamed of seeing the Quantum Moon died before we discovered how to make the journey. When you reach the Quantum Moon, recall these Nomai and carry their curiosity onward with you. Now we know that many generations At the moment, we've got the Tower of Quantum Knowledge. So the Nomai built a shrine on the Quantum Moon to aid in the pilgrimage to its 6th location. Remember this final rule: to explore the sixth location, the shrine must be on the moon's north pole. Pilgrimage to the quantum moon was a deeply significant journey for the Nomai. After the two groups of Nomai stranded on Ember Twin and Brittle Hollow were reunited, it became their united goal to find and visit the quantum moon. But we still don't know what the quantum moon is. The Nomai on Brittle Hollow observed a phantom moon that would sometimes appear in the sky. The Nomai named Solanum landed a shuttle on the quantum moon. We have the Northern Glacier. The north pole of Brittle Hollow is covered in snow and ice. There is a uniquely shaped Nomai ruin on the surface, and the negative time interval measured at the White Hole Station was further investigated at the High Energy Lab in the canyon at Ember Twins Equator. If we want to have a look into this phenomenon, we have the Hourglass Twins and something strange. And it's gone. Could that be the moon that they were referring to? The moment I looked at it, it was there. And then as soon as I looked away, it was gone. It was almost like something else we were playing with at the very start of the game. So, if we go to the Ember Twin, around the equator, which is this big boy, big cracking hole. We have, right here, the High Energy Lab. And this is where they were doing their experiments. So we come here. The Sunless City. Note, this door will need to remain closed for some time. Pi and I are running an experiment based on the extraordinary findings from the White Hole Station. Rami and I will be running this experiment until one of us, specifically me, can prove the other wrong. So although it's inconvenient, the lab currently can only be accessed by the path from the Sunless City. Inviting sand inside would disrupt our setup and could have enormous consequences. We realize this is an intriguing prospect, but the door must remain closed nonetheless. An update: the High Energy Lab is now being used to design the Ash Twin project. If you're here to help, or even just to observe, be sure to use the Sunless City path to the lab. So you have a look. It's completely closed up. As this sign said, Sunless City, we have to go through here. And interestingly enough, as we saw earlier, the power comes from these panels and it's traveling all the way through here. So if we follow this, the Sunless City, but we're getting a danger warning: ghost matter detected nearby. We know that we can just take a photo, and as you get closer, all of that is going to kill us. We need to figure out a way to get past it. So now we start going into the Sunless City. And here we go. We have found an enormous cavern at the end of this passage that appears promising. I believe we could construct long-term shelter there. Cavern Milleray found is a wise choice for shelter. Could one of you mark directions for the others to follow? This is the start of the path to the shelter site. I have left directions to guide you there. Of note, we must hurry as the pathway there is filling with sand. Do not allow yourself to be buried by sand, and make sure no one is lost. Emergency escape hatch. So this means, here we are. We have another one of the emergency shuttles. The heat from this star system's sun is more bearable below the surface. When our escape pod punctured this planet's surface, it broke into what scans show is a cave system with much cooler air. I would recommend we seek a site down there to build a long-term shelter. A no-no, but these passages are a maze. Even with this danger, they are still our best chance for survival. We'll form teams and descend into the caves to look for a shelter site. We can mark our findings on the walls to avoid becoming irreversibly lost. Be cautious, everyone. And be aware of the sand as you search. It appears to be rising gradually. So here we are. Scanning external environment. Scan complete. External temperature is prohibitively high. Verdict inhospitable. Do not seek shelter on planet surface. Collision imminent. Escape pod 3 now launching escape pod 2. We need status reports for all systems, but initial things first. Is everyone unharmed? Our escape pod's passengers are afraid, but physically well. Anona. Everyone survived the crash. This is a relief. At least you have my gratitude. But were you able to find the other escape pod's distress signals? I can hear both signals somewhere in this star system, but I don't believe either escape pod crashed on the same planet as us. So they're all at least aware that they're on different portions of the solar system. Do not follow this tunnel to its end. Coleus and I will examine the horror that lies at its terminus later, provided we live through this. We have a light and some spikes. We have one of those little fishies. But the other thing we have to be careful of is the fact that the sand is slowly rising. Like that. The path to the shelter site is somewhat convoluted, so follow the instructions ahead closely. To reach the shelter site, walk forward until you meet the sandfall at the pit, then turn left. Continue to the room filled with rock column formations and climb upward through the opening above them. The sand here is rising, so you must be cautious but swift. Be cautious crossing the chasm ahead. The bridge Mallory and I crafted will do its job, but it isn't strong. Once on the far side, look for the tunnel hidden behind the falling sand. Follow it and you'll reach the shelter. Behind the fallen sand. You're doing well. There's only a little further left to go until you reach the shelter site. You can rest there. Hurry before the sand comes. It's been a while since we've been here. So what do we have? Anglerfish Overlook District. Stepping Stone District. High Energy Lab Trailhead. Don't even know where that is. What's lit up? The reason it's probably not lighting up is because there's so much sand. Because we've got to spend a little bit of time there just so that we can get all the information from those caves. Just super fast, boy. Like the good old days. And you can use the gravity of the Ash Twin to slow yourself down a little bit. Oh man, I did not catch that well. I meant for that to happen. Now, if we... Yeah, that's why I couldn't find it. So here we go. The High Energy Lab. Now follow these power cables. We have to try and get through that. You have to wait for the sand to be at the right spot. Yeah. Alright, so we are now here. This is the high energy lab. We have a warp core. 2, 3 different types of warp cores. Records show Namai arriving at the warp receiver in Brittle Hollow very slightly before departing from the White Hole station. Rami and I are devising on an experiment to test if this is a real phenomenon or simple machine error. In theory, what we want to try to reproduce is a negative amount of time elapsing between something entering the black hole and exiting the white hole at its destination. Initial things first, our experiment setup will first pair a small black hole core with a small white hole core to mimic the setup of the white hole station. Hypothesis: it is possible for an object to exit a white hole before entering the corresponding black hole. An update: our experiment here reproduced the anomaly in arrival and departure times, but Pi is unconvinced it's more than an equipment error. I hope to strengthen the effect to render it visible to the unaided eyes. To that end, we've decided to try adding more energy. I imagine the Sunless City's energy supply should prove sufficient. Of note, Remy, Yarrow requests that we let him know before we reroute energy to the experiment. I'd hate to leave him in the dark. All available energy has been rerouted from the city to our experiment. Rami and I are about to run a new test. Hypothesis confirmed. Hypothesis confirmed. I saw it, hypothesis confirmed. This is beyond extraordinary. This changes everything. What a beautiful day for the intersection of abstract theory and practical application. So, that scroll there confirms that when something exits the white hole, before it has even entered the black hole. We open up what looks like a test site. So if we grab a warp core, we've got a black hole and then a white hole. We have 2 points. And if you shoot, it's nothing too much. It just slides right through. But if you add more power, see the difference? Hasn't even gone through yet, and it's already coming out. So if we know that I can duplicate my scout before it even comes out, what's stopping me from just pulling this so I permanently have 2?